Hey everyone. So today I'm going to give the talk on empowering web accessibility with React Spectrum. So just a second. About me, I'm a web developer with 7 years of experience building large-scale front-end applications. I'm software engineer 3 at Adobe. I love teaching. I love dancing. I have a YouTube channel, so you can search What the Code, and I upload videos over there. Not so frequent, but I do. I have mentored and taught 1,000+ developers and made them a better developer. Some of my students work in Amazon, Flipkart, Freshworks, and I teach what I know and I learn what I don't. So let's get started the talk. So the agenda will be first I'll explain about accessibility, then about adaptive UI, then internationalization, then React Spectrum components, the core of the talk, and empowering custom components with accessibility, adaptability, and internationalization. Okay, so let's understand what does accessibility mean. It means to ensure that everyone, including people with disabilities or what we could say with different able people, should be able to interact with your website in a meaningful and an equal way. Okay, according to WHO, over 1.3 billion people, that is 15% of the world population, self-identify as with having some disability. Okay, now what kind of disability we are talking about? It could include visual impairments, like they are colorblind or they are blind, or mobility impairments, like they have some issues with using their hand properly. Hearing impairments, those who are not able to hear properly, for them we have closed captions and stuff. Then cognitive impairment, that includes some diseases like ADHD and stuff. Then there are seizures and vestibular disorders. So for example, if you go to Instagram or any app, you see like there are going to be flash. So there is a warning that there are going to be flashes. So those are for seizures and vestibular disorders, right? So these are the types of disabilities. Okay. Now, why should a company or you care about making your product accessible? Yeah, at the end, it's about money, right? Why do we make apps? Why does any company make app, right? To earn money, right? So if you're not getting additional money out of it, why would you waste your developers' time in investing to make that website accessible? Because it does take time, right? So according to American Institute of Research, the after tax disposable income for working age Americans with disabilities is almost about 500 billion annually. Okay, people with disabilities are also part of a larger network of family members, communities. For example, let's say you have a friend or you have a relative who is having some disability. If you see some product is making accessible products for them, you would be encouraged to use that product, wouldn't you? So that is also an opportunity. Let me just zoom out a bit. Yeah. So with that factored in, disability market touches 53% of all consumers. So I hope now a company would be considering itself to make accessible app because it's about money, right? Now, going to one more point. Let's say you say, okay, my market is not to target them. I'm happy serving people who can access my app without giving accessibility. Well, if you want to serve your app in Canada, United Kingdom, Japan, Australia, European Union, they have stricter digital accessibility laws. Okay, of the 500 e-commerce websites, 410 have been served with lawsuit with past 4 years. Okay, often the first lawsuit is for the company's website, and the second one is for their mobile. Okay, so if you don't want to get in legal troubles in these countries, then for sure you want to do it. Now you might be saying, I understand, but why do I care? My company is not international. I work for India company. I work in a startup. It doesn't serve those people. Well, I have a very simple answer. Empathy. Why should you care? You should care because you should empathize with those people. If just put yourself in their place. If you're not able to access, just do one thing. Take a cloth and tie it in your eyes and try to access any website with the screen reader. You will understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so you should always care about it and try to make accessible app. Okay, and you should even educate your companies and stuff to make accessible apps. Now that's about why. Now how? Coming to how. Okay, actually it's not so hard. It's pretty simple. Writing semantic HTML. Now what does that mean? HTML, use your HTML elements structure to structure your content based on each element's meaning, not its appearance. Appearance can be taken care by CSS, right? But it should tell the meaning to the browser so that the browser can convey that meaning to assistive technologies like screen reader. Okay. Now I'll give you an example. For example, this is a HTML which is non-semantic, right? There's a span, there's a div. Let's assume that there's a nav. Okay, then there's a heading, then there are some divs. It's just divs and span. Now, what would an accessible HTML look like, right? It will look like this. It will have a header, which will tell us, okay, it's an header. Then it will have a H1, which will say, okay, this is the main title. Then there will be a nav. Okay, there's a nav bar. Okay, so you know these are nav links. Okay, they're represented by a tag, anchor tag, right? Then there's a main section. Then there's again a header. Okay, then there's a section. There are different sections in your website. So this is how. Then there's a footer, right? So this is simple. It's not so tough to make accessible websites. Okay, you just have to use semantic HTML. Now I know what question you might be having, but the React components I mostly code contains divs. It's like completed div soup, right? Since we need to make custom UI components, we are not using native HTML. I don't remember last time I used a native HTML element for my product or anything. So how do I make them accessible? Okay, so there is a solution for that. It's known as ARIA. Okay, accessible rich internet applications. A set of attributes you can add to HTML elements to increase their accessibility. These attributes communicate role, state, property to assistive technologies via accessibility APIs found in the modern web browsers. Now, ARIA is just a set of attributes. Now, there are authoring practices. Okay, so let me open this link. So W3C has given these authoring practices of how to make some components accessible. So for example, let's say if you want to make an accordion accessible, just go to there, see what are they saying. Okay, so they are talking about how to use tab, enter space, shift tab, down arrow. So it should be completely keyboard accessible, right? Because if someone is using a screen reader, they are not going to use mouse, they are going to use keyboard, right? If you want examples, you can click on example. Okay, they will give you example with code and UI. If you scroll below, here it is, HTML code. Okay, so everything is available. It's just you need to make that extra effort to make the website accessible. Okay. Now, moving to the next slide. I have a question. So, how does it? What does it take to build large-scale applications, front-end applications? So, in my introduction, if you saw, if I mentioned I have experience building large-scale front-end applications. What does scale mean in front-end? If anyone could answer. Any answer? Like, what do you mean by scale on the front end? Number of lines of code. Okay. What else? Sorry? Usability of components. Okay. Correct. So number of people, that's what I'm looking for, like number of people who are accessing your website, right? But usually it's taken care of by backend, right? We are calling services. Our front-end app mostly runs on the browsers.
How scalable the code is, right? I mean, like how less you have to write in order to add new code. I mean, you have everything. So it's scalable, you're not doing anything.
Got it. Got it. I think that aligns with what you were saying. Got it. Got it. How many components you have? Okay, cool. Sorry? Managing the state of the application. Oh, if it's a big app. Okay, cool. Okay. Component architecture. Okay, got it. So there are a couple of things. One is about performance, which I'm not going to cover in this talk, but I'm going to talk about other parts. Okay, which is making adaptive UI. So if your app is on web, then where and all can you access that? You can access that on your browser, in your laptop. You can access that on your phone. You can access that on your tab, and people with disabilities can access that via assistive technologies. So this is part of scale, right? Your app is not just being used on your laptop, it's being used on different devices, in different browsers. Even in all devices, there are different browsers. There is Firefox. There are 4 main browsers that usually people support: Edge, Chrome, Firefox, and Safari, right? Good that Internet is not there. Internet Explorer is not there now. And what else, right? So it's all about screen sizes and OS theme. Now every laptop comes with be it Windows or be it Mac, comes with a theme, right? Dark theme, light theme. So is your app going to support that, right? If the my OS theme is dark, does it automatically make my website dark? Yes or no, right? That's it. Then there are different interaction method, as I told: mouse, keyboard, touch on your phone, stylus on your iPad, and screen readers, right? So that's about adaptive. Another part of scale is internationalization. Now I'll read through the definition of it, but what I'm trying to say is that uh, your app, if it is used by more users in different parts of world, let's say it is being used in Europe, it is being used in America, it is being used in Australia, it's being used in different locales. So they have their own language, right? They have their own format of numbers, they have their own format of date, right? So, and adding more complexities, RTL languages, right to left. Usually what we read is from left to right. There are certain languages, there are certain locales like Saudi Arabia, where it is left to right. Sorry, it's RTL, it's right to left. Okay, so that is also scale, right? You are making your app scalable so that everyone in the world can use it. Okay, so let me go to the definition of internationalization. It's a process of structuring your code and user interface to support localization. Another big word. Localization is a process of adapting an application for a particular language or region. Okay, it includes translating text content as well as bidirectionality that I was talking about, right to left to right, adapting date formatting, like some would format like MMDDY, some would be DDMMYY, some would have completely other different. Okay, number formatting, where do you put your comma when you represent a large number, after two words, after two letters, after three letters, right? Collation and sorting. Let's say your language is now RTL language. How do you sort the? Do you sort normally or do you sort in a reverse way? Right? Think about it. Text search, similarly for text search. When you say text starts with, if it's an RTL language, what do you say starts with? From the end part or the start part? Right? You can think about it. So this is about internationalization, right? Now I'm going to talk about the React Spectrum. Okay. React Spectrum is an implementation of Spectrum, Adobe's design system. Okay, it is accessible, adaptive, and internationalized. Okay, I'm going to show the demo so you will be understanding how exactly it is. Right, and it's not just that it's a design system given by Adobe, and maybe you are not going to be able to use it in your apps or in your company. In order to allow reusing component behavior between design system, React Spectrum splits each component into three parts. Okay, state, behavior, and the rendered component. So first we'll be talking about the state part. So React Stately is a part of, it's a library which is part of React Spectrum. Okay, it's at the bottom. Okay, it's just assume a pyramid. Okay, it's at the bottom. Okay, this hook is shared across platforms. It could work on web, React Native, or any other platform. It makes no assumption about the view system. Okay, it also has no theme or design system specific logic. Okay, the state hook accepts common props from the components and provides state management. Okay, it implements core logic for the component and returns an interface for reading and updating the component state. Okay, if the theory is not making more sense, we'll go to the grammar. Don't worry about it. Okay, now this is the core of React Spectrum, React ARIA. Okay, we'll be talking about it more in going forward, but here I'll give you a brief introduction. It's in the middle. Okay, it's the behavior hook. This hook is platform specific. It depends on the platform, example, DOM or React Native. It has no theme or design system specific logic. It implements event handling, accessibility, internationalization, all parts of the component that could be shared across design systems. So you don't have to use Adobe's design system. You can have these things, event handling, accessibility, and internationalization in your own design system with the help of React ARIA. Now coming to the Spectrum component, which is at the top. Okay, so these are Adobe React Spectrum components, which lives in each design system, composes of all these pieces together. It provides theme and design specific. So first two are not specific to that. This is specific to the Adobe design. Okay, and it renders the actual platform elements. It applies styles, which could be implemented in many different ways. The CSS classes, CSS and JS, however you want. Okay. Now I know what you were saying. Show me the demo, right? Let me show you the demo. So there's a Git repo. I'll come to that later. First, let's look at individual some of the components. So before I open combo box, can someone tell me what is a combo box? Multiple radio buttons. Okay, no. Okay, let me kill the suspense. So combo boxes combine a text entry with a picker menu, allowing users to filter longer lists only selecting the matching query. So it's basically a drop down with search. That's all. Okay, don't make it complex. So let me give you some of the example. Okay, so here it's a simple one, right? Where we have label favorite animal, and here it is marked as optional. Okay, if you don't give the required property, right, it is marked as optional. Okay, how do you import? You import it. You first of all do yarn add Adobe React/React Spectrum. This is open source library, you can use it. Okay, and you need to import combo box, item, and section. Now, what is section? Let me show you. There has to be an example with the section. Okay, so let's say you have different section in your drop down. For example, you have fruit, you have vegetable. Now you have to make partition on it. Now, if you search also, let's say I search for something, it will search in both the sections. Okay, so that's how it works. And if I click, it will get selected. Okay, and also when I open, it has a it's a tick mark which makes me understand that this is the one that is selected. Now let me just make it responsive so you can understand the adaptive part of it. Now this is a mobile screen, hopefully, right? So now when I click on this, you will see it opens up as a tray. It did not open as a drop down, right? Because this is a mobile. That's what I'm talking about, adaptive UI. That it changes the component. I did not add any prop, anything. It automatically understood that this is a mobile platform. Now I need to be specific to that platform. So I'll be opening a tray. Okay. Again, it works same if you just search for it. It will same if you tick. It will same. Okay. So that's how it will work. Close this and close this. Let me go to and there's one more important. Yeah, that I want to show you. For example, you have a long list which is continuously being fetched from a API. Okay, you cannot render it in one go. So you can use async list from React Stately, the first library that I was talking about, which is on the bottom, right? So you can use async list, and how it will work is like this. So if you just keep scrolling, sorry, it will have a spinner and it will load. Have a spinner and it will load. Okay. So if you see here, I'm using the use async list. Okay. This is the code. You can check it out. It is, you can just Google search React Spectrum and you can see the code. Okay. It uses Swappy. This is a Star Wars API, I believe, right? So all the Star Wars character names are there in this. Okay. You can even do a search. Let's say you Luke, like I get Luke Skywalker, right? So this is how it works. Okay. Now going to another component, let's talk about list view. Okay, again, you can import it from the Adobe Spectrum. This is like, let me show you a yeah. So here you can even have icons associated with it, icons, subtags. Okay, you can even have a subfolder level. Okay, so it's like, I don't know if you can move it or not. Okay, you cannot move it. Maybe there's another example. And then there are selectable and non-selectable. If I click here, it'll select. If I unclick, it selects. Okay, these are known as list view. And let me go to the next one, which is table view. Now this is an amazing one because I love this. I do implement this in my day-to-day work, and this is just amazing library. Okay, let me go to the drag and drop one. So a very, not a common use case, but a very unique use case which most libraries do not support is, for example, there are two tables and you want to drag and drop from one table to another table. So you can just pick this and drop it over here, right? This is coming out of the box. Okay, you need to just pass some props and this will be available to you at no additional cost. Okay, this and even vice versa also will work. You can drop from here to there, there to here. Okay, this is an amazing table. I have not seen a better implementation of table component than this. So this is just amazing. Okay, now let's go to the code part. Is it visible? Yes. Okay. Components page. Okay. We do yarn dev. So this is a simple React component. Okay. And what I am going to demo first will be the picker demo. So we saw combo box, like combo box contains picker, right? Now here I'm going to demo picker, but with what, right? Let me show you that. So let me go back to the browser and let me refresh. This is another demo. Okay, so here I see the label is pick your superhero, and then there's a select an option. This select an option is inbuilt string, which comes out of the box from the component. And then we have two sections. One is Marvel, one is DC, and you can select anything, right? Let's say I select one now. Okay. Now this is a simple component, nothing complicated. Now what I want you to show is the internationalization part of it. Okay. So if you see, this component is wrapped in a flex, which is just for the alignment. That is wrapped in a div, which is wrapped in an I18N, which is internationalization. Okay. So if you see in that provider, I have given local EN under EN-US, which is English in United States. Okay. And that local has been passed below div, okay, using the use local hook. Okay, these comes from React area. Even the provider comes from React area, right? Now I'm just going to change this to, let's say, Arabic in Saudi Arabia. Let me switch back to the thing. Okay, and let me just refresh. If you see now, the string which was within got auto translated. I didn't do anything. And if you see now, it's right RTL aligned, right? It's not coming on the left, it's coming on the right side. Everything is aligned properly with just the change of local. That's it. Okay, so now this combo box, no, now this picker is internationalized. Now, if you're wondering why did not these strings get translated, because those are user-defined strings. And this is the one which is built-in string. So that one got translated, and these will not be translated. These you will have to translate and provide it to the component. Okay. So going to the next part, which is number. Okay. Now let me just make it EN so that English in India. Okay. Let me go back to the browser. Okay. So here by default I have a number. If you see here, there's a comma after every 2 digits. Okay. 15, 12, 63, 12. This is a currency. It's a US currency. And here there's a comma after every 2 digits. Now I'm just going to change. Sure. I'm just going to change it to EN US. Okay, it is English only, but it's US. So now let me go to the browser. If you see now, after the first 2, it's now moving to 3. It's 126, 312, 31. So now this number is localized to US local, United States local. It's still in English, but it's localized to that local. Okay, with just the change of the local, right? And the another one, which is very complicated when you try to implement on your own, which is a date picker. Yeah, you go to, okay, we need to refresh. Okay, so this is a date picker, date and time picker actually. So you can pick dates and time, as you all know. Okay, and you can select any time what you want. Okay, now what is the important part of it? This also supports Hindi. Okay, so let me just go back to this and change this to HI. I hope this is the correct local. Let's see. Refresh. Yeah, July, Ravivar, Somvar, Mangalwar. If you see like that, it is now localized to Hindi language, right? So all I did was just change the local. And how do you get local? You can get the local from the browser itself. Here I'm manually typing it to demo, but you can get it from the user's local users browsers. Okay, and you can easily localize your component to that language, right? So yeah, other components you can check it out later. There's a React Spectrum. Now moving to next part. So it is an open source. Okay, Adobe Spectrum is open source. You can check out the GitHub repo if you want to. If you're interested to see how they actually built it, or if you want to contribute or something, you can definitely check it out. Okay, and I would highly recommend using Spectrum components because Adobe has done extensive research and development to the best UX possible for its product. Okay, and it's not something like Adobe is earning money from this. It's just that they made it open source. You can use it if you want to. But if you are like, no, man, I like my design system. I like to make my own system components. And if you're like this, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Then I'm going to tell you, you can still have accessibility, adaptive UI, and internationalization, right? How? That's React ARIA hooks. Okay. React ARIA separates the behavior accessibility implementation for many common UI components onto the React hooks, which enables them to be reused easily between design systems. So it doesn't matter what is your underlying design system, okay? Or even if you don't have it, you're just using your custom components. You remain in complete control over the rendering and styling aspects of your components, but get the most of the behavior, accessibility, and international support for free. Okay, so demo time. Let me show you the demo. Just quickly switch the branch. Okay, I have changed. Sorry, it's got changes. Switch to branch. Okay. Okay. I'm in the correct branch now. Let me show the code. Okay, so here what we are going to do is we are going to make a dialog accessible and interactable. Okay, so let me open the README. So what we are going to make an accessible dialog. Okay, now there are a couple of components which are there. I'll focus on the main components. One, which is this. This is the actual app that is getting going to get rendered. Okay, if you go to page.tsx, you will see it is React ARIA demo. Okay, so if you go to that demo app, we have a container, okay, and we have a dialog trigger, we have a dialog, we have some text fields and a checkbox. Now the components that we need to focus on is the dialog trigger and dialog. Now what is a dialog trigger? Dialog trigger is the button on which you click and the dialog gets opened. Okay, and let me go to the dialog.tsx. This is our dialog component. The outermost thing is the overlay, okay, on which we'll render. The second one is the color of the overlay, and then is the actual content of your dialogue, okay, which will have the title and all the children, whatever you pass. Basically, if you see here, let me just double click this. If you see here, we are passing text fields, three text fields and one checkbox. Okay, so all of those will come in via this children prop. Okay, now let us see how it looks. Yeah, this is without, we have not yet used the React ARIA props. This is a simple dialog component. Okay, let's go here. Refresh. Okay, so as I told, this is your dialog trigger. Okay, once you click on this, your dialog is opening. Now, if you see here, if I do tab, so it focus change, which is good. If I click tab again, okay, again it changed, again it changed, again it changed. Now again it's on cancel. I know it's not visible, but it's on cancel. Now it's on sign up. Now if I tab, it went somewhere. It went into the brow on the top left corner, right? It's just moving around outside. Okay, this is not good. This is not good for accessibility perspective, because if someone is reading the screen, he doesn't know this dialogue. He'll just keep on tabbing, and the screen reader will tell him, okay, it's now here, it's now here. He's confused, like, I was within an app, why am I outside the app? Okay, so let's try to make it so that the focus doesn't get lost. Okay, so let me go back to the code. Let me open the README actually. The first part is contain the focus within the dialogue, right? So how will you do that? So you will have to use I think it's a hook. Sorry, my bad. So we'll have to use a hook. Which will give you it's a dialogue props. Okay. Use dialogue, and we'll have to import it. I hope it auto imports. Yes. So use dialogue. You have to pass the props which are coming in the container and a reference. Okay, a ref. Okay, where will this ref be? Where will you attach this ref? You will attach this ref on the dialogue. Okay, where the actual dialogue is going to begin, right? So for that ref, you will need dialogue ref Let me put it here null because otherwise TypeScript will shout. And let me attach it over here. Ref equals to dialog ref. Okay, and we'll have to have a. Let me just check. Okay, actually it's a bit difficult typing with one end. Let me just go to the final one. Start changes. Switch. I'll just keep switching batches. Okay, so if you see, there is one component that you require, focus scope. Okay. Okay, got it. Okay, I hope it's visible now. Sorry about that. So this is the complete code. Actually, I was not able to type with one, and so I'm just going to show that. I'll just keep on switching between the branches. So here you need to first import focus scope, which is from React area. Okay, and the first thing that you need to do is get a ref, attach it to your dialog container. Okay, and the props which are there. Okay, which are use dialog props. You need to spread it. Okay, now if you go to your demo, we refresh, sign up. If you see here, if you tab, it will still stay. The focus will not get lost. Okay, it will stay within the component. Okay, and also if you notice one thing, let me go back to, because otherwise you won't be able to understand. Switch to branch. Okay, so that was that, and that was containing the focus. Now another thing that I want to demonstrate is that if I open this dialog, I want that focus to automatically be on the first element. Okay, I want that to happen automatically. Currently, it's not happening, right? And if I click outside or if I click escape, it's not, the model is not getting closed. Okay, so for doing that, what we need to do is switch to branch. Okay, so for that we need overlay props. Okay, so you need to spread overlay props that is coming from use overlay hook. As I said, React area are mostly set of React hooks. So we use dialog, we use focus scope, which is a component, and then use overlay. Use overlay will tell you whether it's an overlay basically. And here basically what you need to add is you need to add the contain attribute, which I forgot to mention earlier, will contain the focus within. The second one is autofocus, okay, which will bring the focus to the first element within your dialog. Okay, and restore focus, I'll come to it later. Let me just demo this. Refresh, sign up. So if you see now, when I open the dialog, it is automatically getting focus to the first element. Right now, going back, what does restore focus mean? Basically, which is I would say, okay, it's not here. Basically, once you close the dialog, where does your focus go? Right, it should not go anywhere else. It should be at the same place from which you entered the dialog. Okay, so that will help you with this resource focus will help you with that. Okay, so if I go back, if I now close and I click on sign up, sorry, if I escape and I click enter, the focus was still on the sign up. It did not go anywhere else. Okay, so that's thing. And another wing was which is regarding the the overlay prop is taking care of the closing and opening of the dialog, right? And let me show you one more thing. Since this is a complete version, let me go to, so this is Firefox browser. Okay, and if you see, there's an option here, inspect accessibility properties. So if you click on this, you will see here. So generic is a generic area role, so you don't worry about that. If you click here and go, this is named as dialog. Okay, you don't have any element like dialog, but this is named as dialog. Why? Because of the React area hooks. And that dialog has a title. Okay, sign up. Now, if you open that, you will see there's a heading. Then there is certain generics. Again, you can ignore that. Then there's a label, a button, and sign up. And if you see here, you cannot see the things which are outside the dialog. I mean the header and the button. You cannot see in that accessibility tree. Why? If you go to inspect element here, you will see it's aria hidden true. That means when the modal is open, as a screen reader, I'm not aware of what is there behind, because I cannot interact with it anyways. Even if I'm not a screen user, I cannot interact with it anyways. So as per ARIA, you should not be able to access it via screen reader also. So that's why it gets a ARIA hidden. Okay. So yeah, that's about that dialogue, making an accessible dialogue. Let's move on. So that was React ARIA helping you making accessible interactive custom components. Let's you focus on your design. Complete rendering and styling control is with you. Tested across wide variety of devices, browsers, and assistive technologies. If you're going to ask me how many testing has been done, then this is a list: iPads, iPhones. Not going to read it. You can just check it. The last column is the voiceover over Mac OS. Then there are different screen readers on Windows. They have tested it in phones, browsers, tablets, everywhere. Okay. So you might also be thinking that you might be aware of certain accessible unstyled component libraries. I am not sure if you're aware, but there's a Reach UI. Okay, you might think, why won't I use this? These are components I can style on my own, right? They are unstyled, completely unstyled. And there is one more, Redix. Okay, this is also accessible. This is also available to you. Okay, it's all open source also. So why won't I use this? Why would I use hooks? Okay, if you are preferring to use unstyled components over hooks, then I have good news for you that React ARIA components is going to be soon out. It is currently in alpha. Okay, once it is released, you will have React ARIA in an unstyled components. So you can use them just like you can use Redux or Reach. Okay, so that's all. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you learned something from me. You gained some knowledge. And if you like to, just let me know.